Good evening. Welcome back to the Glazov Gang. I'm Anne-Marie Morel, filling in for Jamie Glazov. We got to jump right in this. When we were in the last segment, we started to talk about Benghazi. Mm-hmm. There are new whistleblowers coming forward who are saying some really kind of scary things. That we were the reason Ambassador Stevens, as Nick said, was in Benghazi was to buy back Stinger missiles from Al-Qaeda.
Oh, God.
Was it another Fast and Furious? Was it another gun runner kind of thing? And another thing is, let me see, General Carter Ham.
Right.
Also was told.
He was the head commander that was told.
He was the one who was supposedly forced to stand down.
Right, that's right.
Because he wanted to go in.
He wanted to go in.
Yeah.
Nick.
What
do you think about this? Is this another Fast and Furious? I mean, they got away with it once, apparently. Is this the same
it certainly
thing?
seems that way, and the thing that's disturbing about it to me is that it fits the pattern that this administration is simply a political animal, that it doesn't do anything for any sort of purposes that seem to be what's best for the country and what's best for the world. It's always about what's best for the party, what's best for Obama, what makes him look better. I think this is why he continues to run around denying, saying that Al-Qaeda's been defeated and there's no more terrorism, because that makes him look good.
Yeah.
And,
he killed bin Laden. So
yeah, and he killed bin Laden.
So it's over.
Did he kill him?
Yay.
I didn't hear that.
No, he did,
he
personally.
Said anything about that?
No, he killed bin Laden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got him with a 4-wood.
Yeah.
That's it. That was
Right.
good. Yes.
It was a shame. Like
Kind of hooked it to the left and got him right in the temple.
Got it right there.
But I think that it does fit the pattern that they tend to do things more for political reasons than for any other.
But is that why this is such a maze, trying to find out information? Is that why that this is all, there's no answers and everybody's stonewalling and nobody will say anything and you can't find out this from this? Is the basic reason because he was there buying back weapons?
They're ashamed of everything about the whole situation.
Everything that
so they
happened.
don't want anything to come out of it.
I don't remember if it was Woodward or Bernstein. It was one of those two guys who said, after Nixon had been forced to resign under threat of impeachment, one of them said, Richard Nixon could have written on the back of a napkin 2 sentences and this whole thing would have gone away. Something to the effect of, I did not authorize this break-in, however, as President of the United States and Chairman of the Republican National Committee, I take full responsibility for the consequences. That would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
It's the cover-up. Mm-hmm. The American people will accept anything if it's told truthfully, and even as disgraceful as Benghazi was, as treasonous, because I get the feeling, frankly, if that had been Jay-Z and Beyonce in that embassy or that consulate, some helicopters would have been on the way.
You better believe it.
But with that said, I think the American people will even forgive that kind of incompetence and shameful cowardice in the fog of war. But when you realize that 21 days after this event, the embassy is still unsecured. They're just documents lying on the ground.
Right.
They're still sending out the president, the Secretary of State. There's a guy in prison for making a movie. They're still sending out this cover story. Mm-hmm. That's when people begin to realize, well, if you're just going to lie just straight to our faces about this, and now every single layer that gets unfolded, it gets worse and worse and worse, and this is how scandals become hurricanes. And this one's going to stick. And I just want to say one thing. It's not because of the press. I thought the story was dead last summer. I thought they got away with it again. I think the people that deserve credit are guys like Dana Rohrabacher and Darrell Issa and those conservative...
Catherine Herridge.
That's right. Those conservatives in Congress who wouldn't let it drop. They just kept using their legal authority as members of Congress to bring proceedings and kept that story alive long enough to get some traction.
And we have to keep on them, too, because I don't want it to go away. I'm so afraid it's going to just go away like that.
This one's going to stick.
I don't think it will
My
now.
fear about it is that, the thing that Nixon, that finally caused him to resign, was when members of his own party came to him and said, we can't defend you anymore.
Right.
And he said, I don't know if there's those kinds of members on the Democrat side. I think they will defend anything. And as long as there's a majority of them, I don't think anything could happen to them.
Bill, can you imagine any stretch of your imagination why a general would be told to stand down from a phone call coming out of Washington.
Yeah,
if
sure.
they're saying that they could do it, that they want to try.
Sure, I can. Absolutely,
Why?
I can. Because you've got a president of the United States without a moral compass, without any understanding of the military, how the military works, with no ethic of we don't leave our soldiers behind. He's not connected to the mythology, and I mean that in the highest possible way, of the military. He's not connected to their ethics. He's not connected to their honor system. He's not connected to their code. So the president is given an option to go and rescue these people. Any one of us would send the rescue party, but he's thinking Black Hawk Down. He's thinking we got a dead ambassador, maybe 2 or 3 guys dead. If I send helicopters, maybe we'll have a helicopter down, or 2 helicopters down, or 20 soldiers will be killed. And he's thinking, cut your losses and go to bed. But what he doesn't understand about the American people is, the American people would rather have seen him launch 50 helicopters and have every one of them get shot down and have 200 people die in the attempt to rescue those people, rather than to sit him at home and tell him to spin their rotors down and go back to bed and not worry about it. A big fundraiser the next day.
Exactly right. That's
Do
exactly
y'all think
right.
that he did go to bed?
Categorically.
And just went
Yes,
to bed?
absolutely.
But do you think he made
Went to bed.
that decision? Do you think it came from him? Or do you think they told him, you know what, Brock,
Say you went
go
to
to
bed."
bed.
No,
and
no, no.
we-
He's
we're
the
not
president of
gonna-"
the United States. He's the president of the United States. There's nobody back there pulling his strings.
So why is this all, I didn't know anything. I didn't do anything. I don't know anything.
It's the only cover he's got.
Has he ever been held accountable for anything in his life ever? Has he ever been held accountable for anything ever?
No, but he needs to be.
Well,
Yeah.
but
He
this is my
needs to
point. But
be.
when you live in a bubble like that your entire life, and now you are the president of the United States, you've never been called to account for anything. Why would he think this would be
Well,
any
he's
different?
never on record for anything. Ever.
No, he reads about it all in the papers, just like us. You know, that's
Oh,
what he
sure.
says.
Sure. Well, where do you think it's going to go? You think it's going to go?
Well, I don't think it's going to go to his impeachment. I just cannot imagine that would be
Oh, I don't
possible
want
under any
that.
circumstances
No.
whatsoever. What it will do, what it has already done, is has considerably damaged, and I mean seriously damaged, in some cases irrevocably broken, his support among a lot of liberals. He's already lost the right in 2009. He lost, losing more of the middle. But hardcore liberals, I don't agree with their philosophy, I don't agree with their political beliefs, but they have a moral code. I don't think it's based on reason or logic, but there's a code. And he has broken that code. The people who champion themselves as defenders of liberty because they brought down Richard Nixon now are confronted with a president who's done exactly the same things as Richard Nixon, and that sets up this cognitive dissonance in their head. They don't know how to process it.
I hope so. This seems like it should be a bipartisan thing.
It does.
It
It
seems
does.
like it.
Well, you have to hope that the liberals with a moral compass, like you said, you have to hope that they are moved by this.
But what are
because
the
if they're not, what will they do?
And the thing is, but
I
you
think
wonder
some of the
what are the
liberals that I know
consequences?
don't have that compass.
But how did
They're
George
missing
Bush?
theirs.
How did George Bush won re-election in 2004, barely 52%. By the time he left office, his approval rating was about 33%, 32%. It's because everything he did in his second term. It's not that cost him liberals; it cost him conservatives.
Right.
Harriet Miers
Yeah,
cost him
yeah,
conservatives. All these
right.
other things that it's like, George, we voted for you. What the hell is this?
That's right.
And that's what's going to happen to Barack Obama. His liberal support's going to erode. He's going to get in the 40s, then into the 30s, and he's going to probably leave office in the 20s.
Well,
Man.
since we're talking about moral compasses, I think this is a good time to bring up someone who really, really doesn't have one, it seems to be.
Are you talking about me?
No, not this time. No, I'm talking about Anthony Weiner.
Oh, Weiner.
Yeah.
I'm really not
Running-
comfortable talking about Weiner.
Weiner. Do we have to talk about Weiner?
I don't think most men are comfortable talking about Weiner.
I completely understand, and that's why I'm gonna take the shift away. I'm gonna do like Joe Bluth on Arrested Development, and I'm gonna let you know this is all an illusion. I believe that the only reason Anthony Weiner is being talked about is so that his wife, who has very, very shadowy dealings, can slip in unnoticed once again, as she was with Hillary Clinton as her assistant. Huma Abedin is, I think a lot of experts say she's one of the scariest people in America.
Yep.
Frank Gaffney has said that
Really?
straight up.
Categorically. She's vile.
She has direct
Wow.
ties that aren't just made up by us right-wing extremists. They are direct ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Her parents created the Parents Institute of Muslim Minority Affairs, which Andrew McCarthy says the IMMA means to grow an unassimilated, aggressive population of Islamic supremacists in America. These are the people that Huma, it's not past, I'm talking present.
Yeah.
Bill, who is Huma Abedin? And should we be watching Weiner or Abedin?
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know.
Well, first
Morgan,
of all,
I did not think you were going to go there. I thought it was going to be this one.
No, I went there.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
I think you really have to ask yourself, honestly, when you really get down to these levels where the intrigue level gets so high and the complexity level gets so high, you just have to kind of just back off completely and ask yourself very fundamental basic questions. And my fundamental basic questions are, seriously now, how many communist terrorists do you know? How many communist bomb makers do you know personally? How many actual terrorists who are associated with terror organizations do you know personally? Because I don't know any. I don't know
any.
one. But it's funny that the President of the United States got his political career started in the living room of a guy who made bombs for a living, who was a Marxist trying to blow up the country.
Yep.
All of his supporters, all of his wife's supporters, all of his Van Jones is a confirmed Maoist. I don't know any communists, none. He knows nothing but communists and Muslim terrorists, and they're all in his administration. You have to just ask yourself, don't you find that a little odd? Don't you find it a bit of a coincidence?
Yeah.
Now, people are saying that he didn't necessarily want to run, but that she was pushing him
Is she
to run.
part of his rehabilitation? I mean, bringing him back and everything? Is that what the
Sure.
deal is?
You mean as being a
Rehabilitating his
serial
image?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
image and
Yeah.
bringing him back. Maybe? Okay, I have a question, though.
Yes.
Okay, I looked up Weiner, and
But that was an interesting Google image search.
Yes, I've done that. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty. But he claims that he is a secular Jew. He was not religious. But how is it that a devout Muslim woman
There you go.
is married to a Jewish man unless he converted to Islam at some point? Because that would not be happening. That would not be happening.
I'm going to give Jamie a plug here because he wrote a really great article. He interviewed Walid Shubat. You guys need to look it up. It's brilliant. And Walid is the first person who uncovered all of the Huma Abedin connections with the Muslim Brotherhood. He asked that same question. He said she would not be able to go back to her family.
No.
They're Wahhabism. They're like one of the most extreme sects of Islam.
Right.
And she was able to go back to Saudi Arabia to her family without being
Okay.
shamed, having married an American Jew. It's
Okay, so something's wrong
not-
somewhere.
Yeah, read that article because it's
So
really great.
either he converted to Islam and is not saying anything, or something else we don't know.
Well, I think the
don't know.
one thing that we really need to fear is that if Weiner wins in New York and Eric Holder is able to survive these Benghazi scandals, that in 2020 we could be looking at a Weiner Holder ticket. I'm just
there
saying.
we go.
Now that was absolutely.
You know,
that was
Jamie,
absolutely.
I don't know.
That was
Perfect.
perfectly executed.
Jamie, you told me. Jamie's the one that wanted me to do this topic.
No.
I said, you know
I've
who's
I've
gonna
seen
be on
balls
the
spike
show.
before, but that was as good.
that
That was as good as I've
one.
ever seen.
And
Wow.
there we went.
Oh,
All right.
boy.
Well, okay. Let's end this on. Let's talk about Michelle Bachmann. Let's go kind of the total
Just
opposite
go the opposite
direction.
way, right? Get off the Weiner.
Yes. Weiner Holder is just, you don't want to, that's just the most awful thing that could
I am
ever
so
happen to this.
Representative Bachmann actually does watch this show. I'm sorry that was a segue into you, but
No, we're all so.
We
that
are-
was
yeah.
terrible news. I was just so.
Yeah.
I did not want to hear that.
I know. I was
did
shocked.
not, because she is such a force for
She
the
is.
conservatives and the Tea Party and everybody. I know, but hopefully she'll do something and she'll move into an area where she can be more powerful.
yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping.
Now, going back to Huma, not her husband.
No, let's not talk about him.
Michelle Bachmann was one of the 5 congressmen who tried to weed out the Muslim Brotherhood and
Right.
infiltration in the White House.
Right.
And she was shamed, including by John McCain, also shamed them and ridiculed them for even daring to suggest that we could have nefarious people in the White House. Michelle Bachmann was one of the only ones who really stood strong for all
And
of
they
us.
just ridiculed her for that. I know. It's just they're blind.
Well, I hate to see her go, and I'm sure that maybe we'll know more about why she decided not to run again soon. But it's got to wear on a decent person to be in that town for that long and to put up with the things that she's had to put up with. I don't know how she did it. If I was there, I would have assaulted somebody.
Justified.
She's not just a run-of-the-mill congressperson either. She was a lightning rod, and she had to be destroyed because all conservative women have to be destroyed because conservative women aren't real women. I don't have to explain that to you.
Exactly.
You don't have the right belief system, so you're not actual authentic women like the Democratic women are. And she's got a tremendous life story, so that had to be destroyed too, in the same way Sarah Palin was. And I've forgotten her name now.
Mia Love?
No, a representative from North Dakota, another young woman.
Mia Love?
No, is it? No, I don't think so.
No.
But she's terrific, and the same thing's going to happen to her. She's going to have to be destroyed as well.
Yeah.
It requires an incredible skin, and you know what it really requires? It requires is our team going on offense and just calling these people out for what they do.
Yeah.
We just got to just stop taking this and be on the defensive all the time. It's like, what is it about successful, independent women that terrifies you Democrats so much?
It's the same thing with black conservatives.
That's right.
They must be destroyed because their very existence puts the lie to
exactly right.
everything.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Right. I listened to Ben Carson the other, or was it today? Maybe it was. I don't know. He was on a finance show in the morning, and he was just great. That man just nails it, and he's perfectly calm in everything he says. And he's like, I expect it. I expect the criticism and everything, but he's out there. He's out there just fighting the good fight. And you know what? We need more pushback.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we need. When they come at us, push back.
And we need to support the good ones and call out the bad ones. And I have to, there's something weird down here on the floor.
Oh, I was hoping I wouldn't have to pull this out. I really didn't, but I just brought this in case I got in any trouble here. It's the Peabody Award. It sort of gives my opinions a little more weight to people.
It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
I know, it's really
It's a little smaller, but it's very heavy.
Can I say something about Nick Searcy's performance? Because I've watched Nick in at least a movie, I think now. Nick Searcy, Nick Searcy's, the great thing about a Nick Searcy performance is you're not distracted by an actor who might make you, who might move you, or who might be interesting or something. What you get is you get an extremely workmanlike, methodical, monotonous, you could almost say, delivery of the lines in an extremely capable, professional manner, and you're not distracted by laughing or feeling sad about things. And in addition, I have to say, you would be amazed at what a bargain this guy is. I was at a 7-Eleven he was opening just the other day, and I think you could get Nick Searcy in a movie for high two figures, probably mid threes, somewhere in that ballpark.
You were doing fine there until you got to the price thing. That is absolutely not true. I'm very expensive. That's why I don't work very much.
On that note, if anybody needs an actor to hire,
He's got a Peabody Award.
He hasn't,
I have a Peabody Award, and please go and watch my award-worthy web series, Acting School with Nick Searcy. You can Google it right after you Google Weiner Holder.
Oh my gosh. And
Okay,
thank you so
on
much
that
for
note.
being with us on the Glazov Gang. We'll see you next week.